the Wild Angels biker film. It's cool, man. It's 1966, about an hour and a half long. Very well produced for its time. You don't see any cigarette burns or nothing in it, um, which it's pretty interesting for this time period to have such good production. Um, Not that I dislike bad production, because I think it's pretty cool, like raw production, but I just thought I'd throw that out there that this is a movie that has, pretty good audio and video sound quality. Um, Peter Fonda starts in this film, and his name is Blue. Starts off, he's on this chopper. It's really nice, man. He's got this chopper. It's black. It's got a Springer front end, and he's all dressed in black. And this kid's riding a big wheel. It's like looks like a lower middle class neighborhood. He's riding his big wheel down the sidewalk, and Fonda's kind of walking his bike out the driveway, getting ready to start his bike. And the mom gets all pissed off at the kid, grabs him by his arm, twists him the other way around off his big wheel to get away from the biker. So Pike, the biker Fonda, this guy Blue, he's riding down the highway, and you get a little motorcycle footage, and the song, like the main guitar parts in the song are really catchy, man, and they use that throughout the movie a little bit, so I thought that was pretty cool. And basically, this guy Fonda, he found this guy's bike that was stolen, and his buddy's bike, Joe Kearns, and his name is Loser. His nickname is Loser. So he goes to Loser's job site. He's working on this oil rig, and he walks up to the oil rig, and he says, "Hey, Loser, I found your bike." And he's like, "You did? Where?" He's like, "Mecca." And he's like, "Out of sight." And his co-worker comes up and starts giving Fonda the shit because he's got this big iron cross on his neck, talking about how he used to kill guys like that in the war and this and that. And so Joe Kearns, the guy Loser, he holds this big wrench up to him. He's like, "You want me to pull your tooth out?" And the foreman is down at the bottom of the ground. He's like, "Drop the wrench." And so the guy throws the wrench at his boss, and the boss goes, "All right, Kearns, you're out of here." So they leave, and they leave on Blue's bike, and they go home to Loser's girlfriend, who's they're in this old White House, and she wants to get it fixed up, and she's pissed off because he just lost his fourth job in 5 months and this and that, and he's like, "Well, I found my chopper," and the glow comes into her eyes, like she's happy again. And so they go and get this guy's chopper. They go into this bunch of Mexicans supposedly stole it, so they go to the guy's shop. They're like, the Mexicans are like, "We didn't steal nothing," and they're like, "Well, we're gonna look around." So they look around. They found this guy's old brake pedal. I guess he had a custom brake pedal, and he knew it was his. And then the fists start flying, and the cops come, and the Angels, found his group. The Angels all take off, and the guy Kearns, Loser, he ends up stealing the cop's bike, kind of separated from the crew, from this group. Steals the bike. Cops following him, and he's on this cop's bike, and he shoots the Loser, and he's kind of losing consciousness and kind of seeing double and swerving back and forth on this mountain road. And there's cops waiting for him below, and he crashes into the side of the mountain, and he's crawling, and he's crawling towards the cops, just kind of totally out of it. Next thing you know, he's in the hospital with a bunch of tubes and shit, hooked up to him in this bed, and they're waiting for him, but he doesn't. The rest of the Angels are waiting for him, and they find out he's in the hospital. So they're like, "What are we gonna do?" They're like, "Well," and Fonda's like, "We're gonna bust him out." So the girlfriend, that's Loser's girlfriend, pretends she's the sister of the guy who got shot by the cop who's in the hospital dying. And she ends up like opening the sliding glass door, like unlocking it so that the bikers can come back in and break him out. They come in, unhook him, steal him back out, bring him to the house, and he's dying, and he's like, I just want to get high. So they give him a joint. He's like puffing on the joint. It's like the last thing, and then he dies. And they're all sad and this and that. And at his wake, it goes from that, like they're partying, and they go to his wake. And the preacher's like, he could have done anything he wanted, and he chose this lifestyle, and starts talking about God and this and that, but he's also being very judgmental. And Fonda's like, hey, like, let me tell you about this guy, is Joe Kearns, and like basically life always gave him shit and this and that, and like gave the reality of like his life instead of like the beauty and all the gloriful things that a lot of people pass up. Like a lot of people, they don't ask to be picked on or harassed or given the shit into the stick, like that kind of thing. And he's just kind of telling the preacher off, and he was basically like, not God, but Hell's Angels, and they're all like, yeah, and so they're sitting there, and they tied up the preacher, and then they're partying with the dead guy. They put him sitting up in a chair, and they give him like a joint, put a joint in his mouth, and kind of reminded me of Weekend at Bernie's, because Weekend at Bernie's, they partied with the dead guy. So I'm wondering if they stole that from this movie. At Weekend at Bernie's could have ripped off the Wild Angels, and who knows, man. But they're partying with Kearns, and then like they're gonna go bury him after this party and take place and whatnot. So they all meet up, like they decide they're gonna go to this graveyard one by one without their colors on, so the cops won't bust them up. And they're kind of just like having a party at this graveyard, and all of a sudden you hear these sirens in the background, and Peter Fonda, Blue, is just keeps on digging the hole, and all the rest of the guys in the motorcycle club are getting ready to split. They're getting on their bikes. They're like, come on, let's go. And Fonda's like, there's nowhere else to go. And like the rest of them just split. He's just like shoveling dirt. And that's like the end of the movie. I thought that was a really cool way to end a movie. Like basically just kind of like hopeless, fuck it, I'm here to do what I gotta do. And that's it. Like he just doesn't give a fuck.